Hey folks, it's Dr. Brian King here, and today I'm on the road in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm here sitting down catching up with somebody that I haven't really talked to in a long time, and so it's kind of good to catch up, but also I really wanted to make this video because we actually filmed a video together about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago, and it was one of the early videos that I've ever did back before I felt like I really knew how to make videos, and I don't think we did her justice. You know, we interviewed her a little bit, but I don't really think we talked enough with her. So I've been really looking forward to coming back to St. Louis and getting my second chance to talk with author, model, actress. I know she's probably does some other things that she identifies with, but I'm here with Leigh Savage.
I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Blues, women, and blues. I'm here, I'm there.
Definitely 5 years ago, if not a little longer.
Yeah.
So I think it's been about 5 years since I've done anything. I think 2019 was the last time I did any live events, interviews, or everything's just been kind of behind the scenes now.
Wow.
I think 2019 was the last time I did any acting, and the film came out after 2019. But
your career, you've just been waiting for me to come back. Is that what it is?
it was all on pause for a good while.
You're like, man, I got to do another video with Dr. Brian.
Only on the writing side. I had my day job took over, and other personal issues took over life.
But the creative side, you kind of took a little
hold. I did some writing. I did release some anthology books, and then the books came back to me, and I re-released them individually. I just stopped doing live events.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So, because the last time we were painting your body, basically mostly your upper body, with body paint, and that was kind of the bulk of what our video was about that day, and so we didn't talk too much about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I have over 20 books I've written. I guess the thing that I've kind of come into is writing dark erotic horror.
What is dark?
So dark means you visit some things that are not typical of normal erotica.
Okay.
And they have horror elements in it as well. It might be you're looking at the obsessive or possession type erotica. I write about demons. My most famous series right now is the 7 Deadly Sins series that was out. And I won a top erotic award author that year after releasing those books. And then I also somehow won another one at the end of last year so I've gotten 2 AMR top erotic author awards for my dark erotic writing. Because I also did dark Little Red Riding Hood.
When you say dark, I immediately think of like vampires and werewolves and stuff. So it's like vampires but having sex, or like werewolves but having sex.
It's more than just werewolves having sex or vampires having
but
sex.
But it is vampires having sex, right?
Some of them are, yes. And demons, and Little Red Riding Hood is wolves, and but it's also taking on elements of torture, maybe kidnapping, maybe some unconsensual stuff in there, and you're really kind of pushing that line of when you read it, you might be, there's something wrong with me as to why I'm still getting turned on.
So you make the readers question their sanity.
Yes.
What does that say about the author's sanity?
The author's sanity is hanging by a thread at times.
Is writing these novels, is this maybe like a fantasy release, or is this, just strictly, I've got a nice imagination?
It's a combination. So it's I have a nice imagination. It's also therapy sometimes. Some of those darker things that you go through your life, how do you get them out? Put them into a twisted story where it's legal to put all that stuff in. So, some of my characters that get treated the worst might have been someone who treated me very badly.
I gotcha, okay.
So, it's therapy, it's little bit of fantasy in there, and then it's also just having an imagination and seeing where the story goes. When I write, I don't plan out a whole lot. So I usually have maybe a small little paragraph that tells me the gist of what it is, and a few names that I have picked out for side characters and my two main characters. And then I just start writing.
Wow.
And then the characters kind of take over at some point, and I'm even like, oh no, I don't want to write that, and I'm writing it still, and I'm like, oh, okay, this would a little beyond what I wanted, but I just go with it because I've tried to fight my characters before. It does not work.
Yeah.
Then I end up with writer's block for however long when I try to fight it. So it's just best to let them win and keep writing.
So whatever the idea is in your head, just let it get on paper.
Let it get on the paper.
It sounds very cathartic.
Yeah.
So these are all erotic novels, and they sound like they have like a spooky element, and maybe like
I have a few that are specifically like the taboo stepsister erotica.
Yeah. That's a popular porn.
A brother
category
and
now.
a brother and sister twins, and the sister is trying to steal her brother's wife. So
Nice. Very
the
cool.
inappropriate nanny relationship with the wife. So
You've written over 20 books?
over 20 books now.
So I'm also an author, and it takes me a long time to write a book, and it takes the editing process and and just coming up with an idea and something. I couldn't imagine having 20 books. How are you so prolific?
I have an excess of ideas. I have a notebook full of ideas that I'll probably never finish because there's so many of them, and I don't have the time to actually get them down. But one of the things that helped me is while I was working in my professional career, I learned about Scrum.
Scrum?
Yeah, they use it in software development. They take and divide up the project into small chunks. So I do that with my books. When I'm actually like writing, I'll divide it up into like I need to do the book cover, and then I need to write 1 chapter, 2 chapter, and I give myself like this timeline, and every week do I meet this timeline to go on. And that kind of helped, and in 2019 is when I used it the most. So you set up what you're going to do and then what you're working on, and you move it along the board as you're getting it done. So you can visually see
It's like
your progress.
like storyboarding or project management.
Yeah, it's basically used in project
Scrum.
I was using Jira, which is a software application that you can get to put my books into and create my little Kanban board so I can move my stuff along.
Kanban board. That's
and I hope I'm saying it right. I used that in 2019 because I was releasing a 7 Deadly Sins book, 2 of them a month, with another book in between. So I was releasing 3 books a month, all very short, but quick reads. So I had to keep myself organized. So I kind of used that to help keep myself organized and keep me moving along. When one book would move to my late husband to edit, then I would start the next book.
Wow.
And then it would come back, and then it would get uploaded and released, and then I just kept boom, boom, boom. Now that I'm working full time, I don't get to do that anymore.
Yeah, well, we got to get you back writing somehow.
Is very small chunks of time now that I get to actually write.
Yeah. I know you have the one series, the 7 Deadly Sins series. Are all of your books kind of serialized in nature?
No. The Quickie Erotics, even though they're technically linked together as a series, they are all individual stories. They don't link together in any way. The only thing that combines them is they're meant to be read in a quick style. The story is meant to be very fast-paced and get to the point. It's not a long, drawn-out story. I do have my St. Louisville Vampire series, which is still incomplete.
Yeah.
And I know fans have been waiting for that one to come back.
How many books are in that series?
Currently 3.
And they're waiting on the 4th one? Is the 4th one going to be the last one? Or is it...
No.
Oh, man. You're really making them wait, man.
The thing is, I haven't written that series in so long that
You're worse than the Game of Thrones guy. People are afraid he's going to die before he finishes the series.
And I don't know. It's really hard to go back because those books were so more traditional romance with paranormal elements.
Interesting.
And a little bit more.
Like a couple of ghosts on a date.
Psychic and stuff like that.
Where do ghosts go for dates? I'm just saying.
Those are much lighter reads. And it's kind of, I've gotten so much into writing the more dark stuff I don't know if I can go back to writing the more lighthearted.
How dark do you get?
Well, one of the reviewers from the Seven Deadly Sins series said I was demented, twisted. So that was a wonderful review.
What are some of the some of the interesting things?
Wrath, the concept is the boss is really bad, and the demon for Wrath comes in and he starts influencing all the workers and getting their anger up, and they decide to tie her up and torture her sexually, which eventually kills her, which the demon needs, but he needs her to agree to make a pact with him so she could be his mate first. And then once she does, then all those employees that tortured her, she then gets to torture them in hell for eternity as well.
Oh, wow.
Once she becomes his mate.
No tentacles or anything?
No. So I guess Portal to Hell is probably the craziest one. So that story was based on, I don't know if you've ever heard, there was this minister in Florida that said female masturbation opens up a portal to hell.
Really?
And then
it doesn't surprise me, but I don't know the story.
Yeah. And then there was this review around the same time going around for Tracy's dog, which is the sex toy. And this review was phenomenal about how good this orgasm was, and that like it lifted her off the plane of existence and she came back down. So I took those two concepts, weaved them together, and this chick not only uses Tracy's dog, but she also uses an anal toy to have the triple orgasm. On the third time, she opens up the portal to hell, and a female morphodite demon comes out of her to pleasure her that has a pussy and a huge long
So I feel like the portal to hell is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it was not in my book.
Yeah, it's like, all right, yeah, open that portal to hell. You let it all out. That's pretty cool. And of course, it's all female. It's brought on by female pleasure and by satisfying the female. So obviously that you're probably a good person to write that. I would imagine, huh?
I would imagine. One of my goals for any book I write is for it to work. It has to get me worked up. If it doesn't get me worked up, the scene's not good enough.
Is that from writing the book, or thinking about what you're going to write, or from reading what you've written?
It is from actually writing the scene out.
Okay.
Because when the editor will look at those scenes, you will see that I'm starting to get excited because I start making more errors as I'm writing the scene out.
I feel like this is good information to share with the audience. You put that in like a forward, and then people can read it with you and get all, like, oh, look at that. Oh, she's all these spelling mistakes. She must be really hot right now.
And forget commas and periods and, oh my gosh, the run-on sentences that I used to get in trouble for.
Wow. See, I don't write that kind of stuff. Maybe I should.
It can spice up the life, that's right. For sure.
So is your personal life feed into the books, or do the books feed into your personal life?
It's a combination.
Yeah.
One will feed into the other. When things are going good in my personal life, it's easier to write. It's easier to get those emotions out, and when things are going bad, it's harder to write.
Yeah, so I write these, they're I don't like to describe them this way, but it's really hard to classify them. But they're like funny self-help books or so, funny books that are helpful based on psychology, and they don't arouse me.
Well, I think there might be an issue unless you're writing a self-help book on relationships in the bedroom.
Oh, I think you gave me an idea for a book. Let's collaborate. Our next book will be Leigh Savage and Dr. Brian King.
Spice up the bedroom.
Yeah, so you still have you've written over 20 books. I mean, that's super impressive, and I know you went through your process a little bit, but about how long does it take to get one out?
If I'm doing it full time, I can finish a book in 1 week. They're short books.
So I'll be honest, when I'm watching like an adult movie, I don't need the whole movie. I don't know why they bother making them longer than 3 minutes.
The shorter books sell better.
If your books are serving that purpose, maybe you only need a short one.
The goal is to be able to sit down and read it in one setting.
Okay.
Preferably. Mainly because I know from personal life, I have a ton of books that you can't see and don't need to see because it's a mess over there. But I would get frustrated because I'd be reading, I put a bookmark in there, life gets in the way, then I can't get back to it. By the time I get back to the book, I've forgotten everything, right. And then I don't read as much now because of it. So I find that if I write the shorter stuff, I think it does better because people can just read it and move on to the next thing.
And of course, you get them hooked. You know,
that's the go. One of the reasons that I was away for so long, I had 2 knee surgeries, and I had to recover from those, and I put on a bunch of weight, and just physically, I was having issues with mobility and stuff like that. And so that was one of the reasons why I stayed away from the limelight for a good while. Last year, I started doing personal training. Started on a new diet thing and started really working on my health. Now that I could focus on my health, and started turning it around, and now I feel like physically like I could do it with some help. I do have some older modeling pictures. I don't have anything new for the modeling pictures, but I have some old fan favorite pics that I still have prints of that I can sell. I have some out of print anthology books that I'll have available to sell that has a couple of my newer book stories.
I think we need to do a photo shoot, man, so you can get some new pictures out there. You know, what do you think?
Yeah, I've been a little hesitant. It's been, after you kind of yo-yo back and forth, you kind of lose some of your self-esteem, and I just feel like I'm starting to get there. And
I know a lot about that. My last book, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's about losing weight. It's about me struggling to lose 100 pounds, and I did, and then right after it came out, I think I gained back like 20 or it's a struggle that it really is. It's an ongoing struggle, but you know what though, there are people out there who weigh like 5 times what we weigh, who are just rocking it, and so. Don't let that hold you back.
Well, it was also health. So when I went and started going to see a doctor for myself, I was diagnosed type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. So I needed to get myself back into shape to get my health back, now that I could focus on me. I've now reversed my type 2 diabetes. I'm now considered pre-diabetic, and we're still working on the blood pressure and the cholesterol. So yeah, I'm happy with the progress I've made. I've down over 20-something pounds.
I have interviewed a bunch of people about weight loss stories recently because of the new book, and so it is a struggle, and it's something that how'd you go about doing it? You had a personal trainer?
I have a personal trainer. Once they diagnosed me as diabetic, I was able to get on Mounjaro, and that helped reduce my cravings. It helps subside my appetite, and the weight started just coming off, because before they put me on the Mounjaro, I was exercising and doing the personal training, and you could see like stuff starting to tone up, but the weight wasn't really coming down, even with all the personal training. Plus my day job is a very physical job now, and even that wasn't getting the weight off. It was still just staying. So
you're probably just compensating with calories
so it was switching. Once they did that, something in my body changed to where the it started coming off again, and I'm not having to struggle as much, and I can see the progress. And if I dip up in weight and then I go do a scan and then I find out I gained muscle mass, and then I'm like, okay, I'm still doing all right.
Yeah, no, that's great. What kind of workouts do you do?
So I do personal training, small little like group sessions, and they lead the workout, and it does like crunches. I'll do TRX, but they've been modifying my workouts based on my knee injury and progressively making them harder as I've been able to get better. When I first went in, I could not get up and down off the floor because my knee was so bad. I would have had to crawl to something and used it to push myself up because my leg was so weak. And that was after 2 surgeries, over 100-something personal or PT appointments for physical therapy. And it was a workman's comp injury, so they were just like, oh, we consider it unsuccessful surgery. We're releasing you.
Wow.
And they just leave you like that.
So that wasn't weight related. That was an injury.
An injury.
Do you still communicate with your fans, or have you been keeping away from any sort of social media?
I am back on Facebook again. I don't really talk about my books on Facebook anymore, because every time I do, they find something to throw me in Facebook jail for. So I post pictures of my bearded dragon on there, or like going dancing, just like personal stuff going on.
Yeah.
Poems or quotes that I find inspirational, or that I feel like a connection with, I'll share like those type of posts, a few funny memes, but I don't really share a whole lot about my work on there. I'll go to my official website, which is leisavagemedia.com. I'll post something up on there about my work. Then I'll go on Facebook and I'll say, a new post is up on my website. Go check that out. And that's how I'm trying to stay out of Facebook
Yeah,
jail.
I see a lot of people doing that. It's tough because I don't know, like I post links to Facebook, and I don't know how people on scrolling are just kind of lazy. Like I don't think they really click, you know.
Most of the time,
Yeah. The bottom line is though, you keep creating. It doesn't matter who's, you know, how many people are viewing it. You know, if you like what you're doing, then you keep doing it.
I definitely have lowered how much interaction I do on Facebook compared to how active I used to be, since I'm not really marketing really anymore, because Facebook took the joy out of that. And I can Twitter and Instagram as well. I really decided to consolidate and lower down how much social media I'm spending my time on.
How did you get into modeling?
So I went to Contamination, which is a con that used to happen. It's no more. And when I was at that Contamination, it was the first year I had dyed my hair red and kind of switched up my persona from the dark gothy girl to this redhead.
To the red gothy girl.
Yes, the red gothy girl. I didn't have my paddle yet, but I was wearing like little red dresses and had the red hair. And a photographer came around and he was like, "I'd like to take some pictures of you." So I took his card, and then we met with him. At that time, my husband went with me, and we talked about it and came up with like, would he be okay with it and stuff like that. And then started doing photo shoots. And from there, once my photos came out, other photographers wanted to work with me, and it just kind of progressed from there. I eventually kind of dipped away from all of it because it gets very draining to do all those photo shoots, and it may take forever to get your pictures back if you ever get them back.
Right.
And you might only get a handful of pictures when they took 100 pictures.
Yeah, no, I definitely know the hang-ups of modeling from you know, Sarah, as you know, I'm a photographer, and I always try to deliver photos, you know, all the time. But yeah, it's just tough. Tough. Not everybody plays by the same kind of standards.
The money it takes to keep buying new outfits, new lingerie, to keep up the makeup. I was spending more than I was getting paid to do modeling, and most of the photographers wanted to do trade, which is fine in the beginning because I was building my portfolio. But then, as you know, things progress, you know, I can't keep doing trade, and then I wasn't making enough on subscription sites to be able to kind of balance it out. I became a Suicide Girl hopeful.
Oh yeah.
I got one set published on there.
Is it under Leigh Savage?
It is.
Cool.
And so I was a Suicide Girl hopeful, and then I started working my healthcare job, and then no more time for modeling. So, I mean, you have to like end up prioritizing what pays the bills eventually.
Of course, yeah.
And so all the creative stuff just kind of took a back burner.
No, if only we could continue to be creative, you know, and have more support from our fan base, right? That's a hint, by the way.
It is.
All you people watching,
Which I have
whether you're a fan of mine and you like my work, or you're a fan of Leigh, you know, help her out so she can do more work.
Yeah,
you know?
I have a donate button on my official website. You can donate through PayPal directly.
Hit that donate button. So you're getting back into the groove, and you're doing your thing. Are you going to start writing again?
I am working on a new project now. I've kind of run into a little bit of writer's block. This project is not a typical erotic, as far as there is no romance.
Oh, really?
In it at all. It is a horror erotic completely. I'm using it as therapy.
Okay.
And I have a co-author. And what we're doing is he's writing the male, and then I'm writing the female. And so he'll write a chapter, he'll send it to me, I write a chapter, I send it back, and we're going back and forth and building on the story. I don't want to say too much more than that on it until
keep us in suspense, but it's nice to know that you're writing. And that's the important
I just ran into a little writer's block on this one chapter I'm working on, so I have to figure out, because the character isn't quite so bad yet. So she hasn't lost her.
Gotta make her worse.
Is that so I gotta write her before she turned to what she ends up being.
You have
so
to write
I don't want to give too much away, but
the innocent character.
Yes, I gotta write the innocent.
Into the person,
the one that still believed in love and still believed in destiny and all that. She was still hopeful for the future before she lost it all.
Oh, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Right.
And have you been painting? Is that your painting right there?
Yeah, this is my painting that I started. I didn't finish it. I'm bad with not finishing.
We've been staring at it the whole podcast, and I just wanted to say, like, what's going on with that? 'Cause it looks like a Georgia O'Keeffe kind of,
So I did this, and then I had to let it dry, and it took forever for it to dry. And then I was supposed to go back in with like a lavender color to fill in the skin tone of the person, and then add hair. And then this is a hole in her chest.
So I look forward to seeing the finished product of that.
If I ever get it finished.
Leigh, how can people find out about you?
The best way is by going to leightsavagemedia.com. That's my official website. I actually have threads on there that people can post stuff on that have topics that you can communicate on or read on. Mm-hmm. I would like to start putting up more blog posts, but day job.
You're busy. Books to sell, other merch, that kind of stuff?
It will take you to the sites where you can buy your book, buy my books, which primarily is Amazon. Most of my books are Amazon exclusive.
Hey Leigh, it was great catching up. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for indulging me. I do really still like the first video that we made.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same quality that of stuff I'm cranking out now. And we didn't really get a chance to talk much in that video.
No,
so
you had to concentrate on painting.
It was all about boobs in that painting. And which is weird because I shot it to edit the boobs out.
So it'd be YouTube friendly.
I know. I didn't realize. You know why I shot it that way is because I at that point in my video editing, I did not know how to blur or you know what I mean or anything like that. So I was like, all right, I'm not even gonna bother. Let's just crop this differently.
It is still one of my most watched interviews.
Leigh, it's great catching up with you.
Yeah.
And those of you watching and listening, thank you so much for checking it out. Please, if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's been On the Road with Dr. Brian. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Blues, women, and booze. I'm here.